Hi everybody. We're back. We got ahead of ourselves and didn't really make a lot of record, but we put this beam right in, no problem. I ended up taking, like I said, it ended up being an inch off the end of those LVLs to give myself the sort of ability to make a one-man job of putting it up. And then we rebuilt the header like we were talking. This is a 2x8 rip that ended up being more like 6 7/8 to 7 ripped at an angle, just to make sure that it was solid wood, and that sits on the existing jacks, and then the existing kings is nailed into those, and the double top plates went back. The end is on a beam hanger on the two joists that pass one another over the bathroom, and the hanger went on without instead of 10D nails that are 1.5 inch, I used the 3s and put it through both joists, plus the end of the beam sits on that header arrangement there. Now it's split, so over the width of this beam, all the joists that are on the beam, just to be real rough about what its job is here, the halfway point of these joists here, from this halfway point to the outside of the home, that weight, sort of that amount, is on the outside wall of the house. The inside half hangs on this beam, and the same is true over here. The outside half is to the outside of the house, and the inside half roughly is to the beam. That being said, whatever this weighs right here, we split again to two ends of the beam, so that volume is half on this end and half on that end. And so then we come down here to half that weight. Now it's half again, because half of it comes over and comes down the jack and king on this side of the doorway, and the other half comes down the jack and the king on this side of the doorway. And somewhere in here, usually your joists and your studs and your joists and your studs and your rafters, everybody's lined exactly up on top of one another, which lets you do things like run the ductwork all the way up and around any particular slice of the bread. If you imagine the house is like a loaf of bread, every single slice is a plane, and within that plane you can go anywhere if you frame like that. Now you look at this house here, the framing in the walls is offset to the left one width of the framing in the ceiling. That's close enough, especially for the age of the house. They didn't quite, have it together at that time either. So what am I bringing that up for? Well, the joists right above the bathroom are ostensibly the same location as the joists in the floor. I would have liked to have seen them right on the front wall of the bathroom. It could have been moved over for the sake of being right under them. That means that the joists in the floor here are probably there and not right there, but overall, we're talking about point load. And what I'm bringing up is, once we go to the floor here, now we're just on the subfloor again, and ideally we'd be on a joist that's laying on the main beam of the house, and that beam is on a jack post, and now we're down to the ground truly. And if we're just on subfloor between two joists, well, the subfloor is 3/4 of an inch thick, and that is on a span of 16 inches, and if you're right in the middle of it, that's the worst place to be, and you can get some deflection there and even some damage. Or if you have tile, you can see with a lot of snow load or something pushing upstairs, you might get a crack here in the tile. I'm willing to bet that that's not going to happen here, because we're so close to the joist here with the sole plate. And again, we've divided up the weight here several times over, and really the weight isn't all that much. It's a small house, and there isn't anything upstairs that's right on us there. So that's my off-the-cuff rationale. We've taken all of the drywall back, the meat and potatoes of the drywall back that we're going to want to have out of here and load it out with the trailer, so that we save ourselves trucking that debris anywhere else. We're down to a few little handfuls of things and the old duct in the garbage can. Excuse me. We took a full width 4 feet out of the ceiling, because we had just left, what was here from the wall. We would have had to at least go to the middle of the next joist, and the farther away we go, the more we can roll from this surface onto the new surface and back onto the other surface without a big wonky transition that's physically a bit of topography, that once painted everything the same color stands out. We want to spread that out and do what we can to mitigate that issue. It's no problem putting drywall back in to an existing drywall surface. This surface is not existing. For example, this is a pocket we made in the wall for the new switch location. Here's the piece that came out of there. Or we're at nearly 1 inch thick. We have multiple layers here, and it's the same in the ceiling, and we're gonna have a heck of a time, I think, getting that ceiling to come in plainer because it just wanders, and drywall nowadays is a perfect thickness throughout. So we're gonna have a work cut out for us, and this project has gone smoothly all the way so far, knock on wood, and I think that'll be where we spend a lot of extra time, is in, you know, of all the places, in finishing out the drywall ceiling. But c'est la vie. So we notice we got this duct out of here. Let me see if I can turn this light on here. If you look down in here, it came over in that 6-inch circle. So we got a cap on that, busted a cap on it, and wrapped it in the tape that you use, the foil tape, which I don't have immediately right here, but swear to God, here it is, just to hold that. We can't get in there and operate to put any fasteners in. It's a clips downstairs, so cap that off, and we busted a cap upstairs into the register, you know, the bottom of the register. We filled that, and that'll get screwed, because I can screw that with zip screws, and taped around that. It'll be nice because you can see here, this will be where a can light fixture is, or a canless style, and you'll be able to take that light fixture down and actually see that if you need to. You know, if Junior drops his toys in the register up there, or cram something in there that you have to have back and you can't reach down and get it, you can come down here and clear it out. So it just was, what do you call that, coincidental. So with that, I can show you now. So we took this hot air supply that used to go up and bear left into that room upstairs. This is what we've got now. That room would not be getting any heat. You come up here and you see this is no longer a functioning register. We left it in place because we don't want to have to make a new piece of baseboard, a new piece of shoe, fix the drywall here. This is the easiest thing for right now. That can be done at any time later. So there was no more hot air supply here. There was cold air return over there. So what we did was, before I show you over there, we went over into this room and we found where the hot air supply came up here. Now that is in the back of the room downstairs. It came up and came in here. So what we did was, we came in along the side of it, because it's normally framed around the metal component, the stack head it's called, and we slid in with the Sawzall, and we made sure to come out the other side in the other room with the Sawzall blade a little bit to make a witness for where we needed to cut exactly. And we went around to the other room, through all the stuff. You just moved in here recently, so forgive that, but then we knew where we needed to be here. We finished that up. Tried to be real careful, but the stuff is so brittle. There's going to need to be a drywall repair here anyway, because we couldn't cut just the overhead height that was necessary for the steel, because we had to not only pull the single stack head out, we had to buy this double stack head, which outlets both sides of a wall and has a divider in between, so the air coming up is sliced basically in half before moving to either side, and also you can't see right on through, into another room. So to roll the old one out of there, I had to cut the top of it off. I just reached around inside and cut the whole top of it off and ripped that out. Then I could see down in there where it had been screwed, and I could bend the Sawzall blade again like a fillet knife and saw off those screws, or actually a couple of them, the back and forth action, walked them enough around and around to loosen them. I could hand loosen them out and let them fall out of there. Pull the rest of the old stack head out, and then, like I said, we had to cut up higher to an extent that we could start this double stack head end from the side and roll it into position and then slide it down, and then we ended up with this extra space here. So I'm going to have to go out. It's not cut back enough on this side. I'll show you the other side. We'll cut out the wall board again a bit more so that we're on the framing, and then we can come back with a drywall repair, which we will make to this here. And it remains to be seen, maybe we will cover up the other old register, since we'll be up on the second floor doing drywall repairs to register locations anyway. If we're all broken out with tools, and that may be the easiest thing, but we got to go from this face of this to that. We don't need to get around on the sides here, but we just need to get something in here that, again, we're going to have a time getting up to that thickness. It looks like about a 5/8 and a quarter piece might pack up to that thickness, being 7/8 or whatever that is. So remains to be seen. But now we have heat to both rooms once again, and we could take down the stack that was in our way. So we went on and got into our canless lights, our old lights, or the existing. If I can hold you up in there far enough with a flash on. Is it still on? Oh, it is still on. Anyway, you can see the can up in there for that light fixture. That's why it's called, as a layperson might call it, a can light. Like a chassis calls it a can light. The new ones are not installed to a can. Do I have one laying around here? I just took it. There it is over here. It's just the fixture itself. It's just this little guy. No bulb, LED. Comes with a little pluggy, you know, pigtail on it. And these little spring-loaded wings. I can't show you because once again, you know, they just straighten out and go through the hole, and then they come down and pull them up into the hole. 30 bucks each. A cool component to them is that, so they're driven by a driver box, which is up there. Each one of them has a driver box that you can, you know, you can cover the drywall up. You can use this. I like to use these sheet metal things to visualize and be sure of the location of my lights, and they also help you plunge and trace the opening cut with a drywall router. This isn't double duty, but I can be sure now that I have the driver box in the right spot. You can cut the hole into drywall anywhere, stick a driver box on there, get a hold of some Romex. It's plug, you know, just pair and plug into those little connectors on there, close the little driver box up, and you're all set. The driver box, what I was trying to say before, has a little switch on it right here, which I'll zoom. Oh, look at that. See the little switch with the temperature colors? Ooh, there it is there. From blue to red. That's just changing the Kelvin, the temperature of the light. So from blue, you can go to that blue, from that blue-white kind of a look, through to true white into a warm white, which is more yellowy. And you can do, I think, 4 or 5 different settings. So she has existing can lights. When we get everybody in here, we can look at what it looks like to try and match them. We can go a bit whiter with some and warmer with the others and cooler with others, whatever you want to do. So that again, for 30 bucks each, you can't do that. You couldn't have bought the can fixture and the, you know, the fixture box or can, then the bezel itself and the light fixture is a separate thing, and then the bulb in it. You're not going to do that for 30 bucks, and you'd be you know, working with 90s technology. So we're trying not to do that either. But basically what's going to happen here is this circuit of can lights is the kitchen, if I may. I believe it's this one. Yeah, all the way around. So on that circuit, we're going to add 1, 2 lights here. So those will all come on with that. Now these others, 1, 2, 3, 4, right over here, there used to be a fixture there for a room that's here, or used to be here. Now it's no longer room, but this little area of the ceiling, we're going to have these lights come on in their own circuit with a switch, and of course that fixture in that room area over there on its own switch. And those will be here. So one will be this fixture, the other will be this group of can lights, and those other 2 can lights will be part of that circuit there. And that way, oh, and then we got this light fixture here, that'll be on a switch right over here. And that way, you've kind of got everything. When you're headed up to bed, you can hit the kitchen lights, and then you can hit the other lights, and you can hit these lights, and you head on up the stairs. The most you have to do is step over here and hit that light there. We try to keep things close and intuitive, so that people understand what they're, you know, what they're going for in terms of a switch before they get there. You don't want to spread stuff all over the house so people are running everywhere, and you don't want to have a weird location that's hard to imagine what it does till you try it. So not a lot of options when you take walls away, but we're doing the best that we can. And this is moving along real nice and smooth. So thanks for watching. We'll see ya.